All right, everyone, it is now 6:40. We're going to get started with the notice of workshop meeting, 2023-2024 municipal budget, 2023-2024 ad valorem tax rate. Thursday, August 10th, 2023 meeting will commence immediately after conclusion of the public hearing. Open workshop meeting. Should I just go to number 2, Counselor?
Yes, sir.
Item number 2, a presentation by City Administrator of purpose for the purpose of 2023-2024 budget and the proposed tax rate for 2023-2024 ad valorem tax rate. The City Council will discuss, ask questions, and make recommendations as appropriate regarding the agenda item. No action will be taken. Councilman, do you have any questions about the budget? David, if you want to get started and give us a quick rundown.
So I want to start with the tax rate, and it's pretty cut and dry to see that the proposed tax rate the preceding year is actually going to stay the same. We did make a change between the proposed or the debt service rate and the operation and maintenance rate. But in the end, the tax rate stayed exactly the same as it was from the preceding year. Our debt service dropped since the last fiscal budget by a little bit. So they just made a little change there and we maintained the same tax rate. On the tax rate, that's pretty much it. I mean, we want to continue. If there's no questions on the tax rate, we can go into the budget.
Any questions on the rates?
So that is the no new tax rate is what you're going to adopt, or
Yes.
a proposal? What, and that will be what?
The 70?
0.70?
Right.
Yeah, it stays the same.
Okay, as far as the budget, it's very minimal. There's not a change in the budget. As far as sales tax from last year, we were budgeted at 1.8 million. We're looking forward to 2.5 million for this next fiscal budget. Sales tax has come in very good over the year, last year or this year. Major changes in the budget, operation and maintenance for the departments. We added money, $50,000 to $100,000 for, of course, water, wastewater, and the street department. Part of the reason for that is that prices have increased, and our current budget that we have for this fiscal year, being that prices increased, we've already met the budget, or we have slight overages in the budget. So we put the money in that area so we compensate for that. Also, capital improvement in this budget, I believe, is $168,000 this year, or $167,000. We are looking to purchase 3 vehicles this year. As far as capital improvement, the city wasn't looking to buy anything else besides that. I know we've had an increase in sales tax. Last year, the gas department was at a loss, being that the rates increased so much, it put us into a bind. The city also we're $19 million in debt. I want to explain a little bit here. This is a good time to do it. So every department that we have for the city of Cotulla needs to be self-sustaining. Right now, there's no department in the city of Cotulla that's self-sustaining. Your most profitable department is the water department. Okay, and we see profits head over heels month after month in that department. The issue is that we have a lot of debt through Texas Water Development Board that is being paid off of either sales tax or property tax. Theoretically, that should be paid out of the department. And if we were to do that, I think it's upwards of $1 million a year that we're paying out for these loans from Texas Water Development Board. If we did that, the water department would be at a loss. We are subsidizing every department with sales tax. Your municipal solid waste over the years, it's a loss every year. And it's upwards of, at this point, $1.3 million to the city. Once again, it's been subsidized through the sales tax. There's going to come a point here in the future, I want to come to council and make corrections to this. So I have a lot of projects that council and just the general public likes to see roads and sidewalks and different things done. And in the city, they try their best. But being that our departments are being subsidized off sales tax, it makes it very hard to do any of these projects. We want to try to free up that money so we can have progress in the city. And that's the only way we're going to be able to do it. It's been an excellent benefit to the customer, including myself. I live in Cotulla. It's been an excellent benefit to have the lowest water rate for residential, probably in the region, maybe the state, and the second lowest commercial rate in our region within 100 miles. And it is, like I said, it's a great benefit, but it's hurting our community because we can't make the progress that we want to make.
So in reality, you're saying that if we raise the rate on.
So, yeah, so a matter of 3 to 5 cents makes a world difference
Yeah, we've been,
year after year.
in 2012 and 13, we did a rate study and we went up, but we won't make drastic changes on the amounts that go out to build our customers. It'll be a very light upgrade on our finances.
Right.
Can you, for the next meeting, can you give us a presentation on the surrounding cities that, what are they paying on their rates and
Yeah.
like a chart?
Yeah, I sure can do that. And I actually have a chart already prepared. It's sitting in my office.
Yeah, so we can explain to the citizens out there.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
We had it here for, I want to say for about 3 meetings. I want to say, but it's been a couple of years. So David and I and Mr. Dovalina was here today. I don't know if you guys knew. We talked about upgrading, or not upgrading, but doing the rates again, and all the way around to see where we stand before we even go up. We usually do that. It's procedure for us.
Correct.
So we're going to do that first, but we can definitely show you guys what we've done in the past. I think I want to say we did this one in 2018 or 2017 was the last time. It was right before COVID, I think.
Yes, 2017 was the last rate increase. That rate increase was actually for 2016. We were a year behind because we didn't raise the rate as we were supposed to for 1 year. As other cities, they have a yearly increase, and that's just something that we haven't done here. And we've been fortunate. You know, we've made good money on sales tax. We actually have growth in the city. We have business coming in. This is something else we need to take into consideration. But waiting for the business to come and the sales tax to increase is years and years, and you're not going to get your growth like the council wants it today. You're not.
I know that the rate is totally different from a residential to a commercial. Because the commercial uses so much more gallons of water. So in reality, you have to put a higher rate of cost. Am I correct?
Correct.
Than residential.
And we're number 2 right now in the region.
Well, usually it goes up on the residential and commercial, Councilman.
Yeah, but I
We
think
do both.
but it's a little bit more higher on a commercial. Am I correct?
It is.
It is on the commercial rate, yes.
So same thing outside city limits. If they're not within the city, it's a double rate.
Correct.
Mhm.
So
I had a question. I know that last week, the week before, that these contractors are fixing our roads.
Mhm.
That sometimes initially they bust the water line.
Okay.
Can we, in turn, the city charge them for negligence of spilling that amount of water?
absolutely. So there's some variables here. If they request the locate of the line and the city does not mark the line in the right place, we're liable.
Correct.
What has happened though is if we do everything the way we're supposed to do and they hit it, we require them to fix it and pay for the parts. There's been instances where the city has given the parts to the contractor because they didn't have it available, but we require a return of the parts or payment for the parts.
And we've charged them before.
Right. And we definitely have.
But for the uses of the spilled water,
Oh, okay. The loss of
the
water.
cost of the water that's been spilled, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's something we've never done before.
I don't think
Okay.
Is there a way to rate that?
Yeah, there is. We have a formula to rate it depending on the size of the line and the amount of time it wastes. So
Okay.
it can be.
That's another thing to look into.
Okay. Understood.
There's a couple of things I wanted to point out on the proposed budget. If you look at your general fund revenues, your 2023 budgeted sales tax was $925,000. and your actual was 664,857. That would be on page 5, I believe, or I'm sorry, page 3 of your budget,
Which one are you looking at?
city sales tax. So that'd be line item number 5.
Yeah, 5, yeah.
So your taxes actually came in less than what you had in your budget, if I'm reading this correctly.
It sounds correct.
And so you're budgeting $1.2 million for next year, for 2024, which is about a 30% increase in what you budgeted this year. So, that's a pretty large increase.
Yeah, it is.
That would be great if you got it, but if you drive around Cotulla and look at the place, I mean, the cafes are full at lunch. There's trucks everywhere. Oil prices are going up, but sales tax is a tough thing to try to figure out.
I agree.
The other thing that Mr. Wright and I spoke about was this is sort of related to the budget, but the hotel occupancy taxes. The idea that if the acquisition of the properties around the Plaza Florita are ever completed, taking out of bonds where you would actually use some of that hot tax money to pay for that area.
Right.
And if you can do it right, with the Well House and School, with the Guadalupe Hall, the Jimenez store, the old Red store, I don't know what's going to go there, but those are things that would bring in more sales taxes and things of that sort. Because that hotel occupancy tax is very limited on what you can use it for. And if you're aggressively going out and promoting which is a very significant history that Cotulla has with that area, it could be something. Because there's $1 million in there right now in that fund. So I don't know, but these were just ideas. You're already doing it. You're
We've
acquiring the
actually,
land.
for that fund there, I think for the year, we brought in $1,076,000, but actual funds is $780,000. So there's been some donations and different things that get paid out of the hot tax.
Your water's doing good. You're not going to have to drill any new wells. But you did
Well,
abandon one, right?
We might need one more,
Yeah,
but we probably will get started or look at it probably next year.
this is probably going to be a 5 to 6 year plan, somewhere around.
And that rates, that additional census thing that's being done by that guy out of,
Yeah, the socioeconomic survey.
Yeah. So that would free up how much money potentially? Do we know?
Not really at this point.
But that's on the drinking water, right?
Right. Yes.
Drinking water fund.
Yes. We're not sure at this point.
So this budget's really heavily dependent on sales tax.
Yeah, extremely. And that exactly what Steve has said. We all need to be vigilant and take into consideration that we are subsidizing off of sales tax. And if we had a dramatic change in Cotulla and we weren't getting the sales tax, everything would go the opposite direction in the way
We'd be
we
in
didn't
trouble.
want it to overnight. It's that sensitive and that tight.
Mr. Wright and I also had some conversations, and it's not in this budget, but the policing here in the community. That's always been an issue. We're at this point completely relying on the county to provide the services as they choose to provide them. And there is no direct reimbursement that is being made to them.
I've actually been having some conversation with the county judge about not so much a police force, but maybe a marshal's department for the city of Cotulla. And this is very preliminary, But he's given me some positive insight about having interlocal for the jail system that the county has if we were to start a marshal's department. So marshals is something that we could come out cheaper for the city than a full-blown police department. And we could still have some kind of traffic control or some kind of enforcement in the city that where we do not rely on the sheriff.
If that were to occur in the future, your municipal court doesn't bring in any revenue.
Right. No.
It's just almost non-existent. You know, you're never going to make any money off your municipal court or your police department, but at least they should pay for some of the expense. And, you know, I have some experience dealing with police departments in small towns, and it's a wonder any small town can afford a police department, what they cost.
And I've seen they sacrifice all their other departments to maintain the PD.
Right. So with that respect, we are fortunate that the county does provide what they do provide.
David, anything else?
Yes, that should do. So page 13 is going to start salary and wage for the staff for the city of Cotulla. If you pay attention to that there has been some changes to it. Historically, staff was by the hour and accrued overtime. A lot of your key staff, department heads, some of your office staff are now on salary. You will see that in the budget. The city is proposing a 5% raise for the staff. The reason, I know we did a 10% last year, 5% this year. We have our health insurance that had a 17% increase from last year. Essentially, that's a raise to the staff that they don't quite see, but it ends up, going up there. All the premium went up 17%.
So if they get the 5%, also the insurance is going to go up.
Yeah, yes, but the city pays the insurance 100%. So it's the same benefit. We're just having to pay more for it. So I took that into consideration when we did the adjustments for the staff.
So the employee will not be paying more.
No, the employee pays $0 for their insurance.
Okay.
So it's a cost to the city as a benefit to the employee.
And this is only the 5% for regular employees or salary also?
This is for everyone. We've always done an increase for everybody.
Straight across the board.
Straight across the board.
And we can't do it differently, that the salary gets different than the employees?
We've never done it before, and it's come to the table. I would just say the past. It's come to the table before, and it got knocked down because at that time the council didn't feel that we should pick and choose who we give a higher increase to.
So this way, nobody says anything. Everybody got the same percentage.
And it comes back to what I had to suggest a while back, that why can't the city do evaluations in order to get?
Yes, we could.
That's what I'm saying. Because in order to get more than 5%, you have to get evaluations in order to increase another additional $1.
Right.
Things like that. You know what I'm saying?
So Steve, would we require an ordinance to make that happen?
No, actually, your personnel manual provides for that, And I think typically you look at the range of salaries for a given position and you want about 50% to be in the median. So if you pay, $20 an hour for somebody that works in water department, then that would be, say the range is 15 to 25. You want everybody to be right around the middle of where that range is. There are things that can be done. I mean, you don't have a huge staff, so doing a salary type study would be something. And certainly it's easy to compare because all this stuff's public information.
Right.
What other cities in the area are paying for people. On the sales tax fund, I was going to just add that the Love's truck stop, at some point will be operational.
It's supposed to open the 26th of this month.
So
Yeah, there's a gentleman that goes by once in a while to the restaurant, and he told me that by the end of this month is targeted date.
Just go see what Ensenal's getting off of theirs, and you may have an idea what you might be looking at here. I mean, it's a big facility, and maybe there'll be more facilities.
It looks like also as far as the salary and wage for the staff, it looks like there's 5 to 6 people that are at the minimum starting rate for the city. And you see that everybody here is making an okay income, and I know they're going to want more, obviously, and I do believe in what you're asking for.
Correct.
But most people here are making a pretty good income. So,
Yeah, I know that the employees that are getting good monies, but when I'm talking about leadership, the one that's have a lot of employees that under his belt, because that's a big responsibility of taking care of them and make sure the job is getting done.
Yes, sir.
That's why I'm saying it's
Yes.
totally different wages than
Right. It is a different bracket.
correct.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things you can incorporate in that. You know, I mean, the more you try to drill down on it, for example, if you had somebody who's a department supervisor in solid waste, you know, can you decrease the expenses? Can you, or at least decrease the rate of the increase in the expenses? You know, fuel prices are going back up. So, you know, we don't know where that will end. Diesel's almost $4 a gallon now.
For sure. Yeah, that's all 380, I think, 370.
So
Expect there again.
you're always going to be fighting that no matter
Mhm.
what, you know, but I think, you know, people need to understand that while it is a municipal corporation, it is a business of sorts. And so we do need to look at costs and where those costs can be cut. And you want to avoid waste wherever it can be avoided.
I know that the employees get $1.50 for every license they get. Now, certificate.
Yes, historically, it's been any state license. You actually have 3 staff members that got the mosquito applicator license.
Oh, that's good.
Well, I'm waiting for the license to come in, but they passed the test, and we paid the licensing fee, and they're going to get it. And that was Robbie Thomas, Joel Montemayor, and Joey Velasquez. So when the staff does something like that, there has been historically a $1.50 raise involved, and that has always been a good motivation, even for myself. That's been a motivation to advance and to also help the city, you know, get what the city needs as far as certifications and licensing. That's, you know, historically we know, you know, that's how I made it, you know.
So
the only way.
the $1.50 is not given until you get the actual license, not the
Right.
certificate.
Right, I need the license in hand. Now there are a few stipulations there, in my opinion. Certification for the gas department is a certification, but there's a lot of things that they have to do to achieve the certification. So I offered it to the gas department, the water department. If they got that certification, really to anybody at the city, if they got that certification, we'd give them the $1.50 rate.
Yeah, because sometimes it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get that license.
Right.
So you're missing out on two paychecks.
Right. It's
to get.
longer
Yeah.
usually. So some of the licensing that I got took 2 years to get it, and then it ended up with a $1.50 raise. I also put it out to the staff, all the staff, for CDL. Obviously, we have a few positions that require CDL license. Well, I want some redundancy in the departments. So anybody at the city who would like to get a CDL license, more than open to do it. And the city pays for it 100%.
That's good.
On top of that, they'll get their $1.50 raise.
Good.
So there's I think 2 employees that are taking advantage of it right now, which would be your animal control officer, DJ, and Joey Velasquez. He's going to go after the animal control officer and work and get the CDL.
That's good.
So
So there's room to increase your salary. You just gotta want
Right.
to do, you know,
Yeah.
more so.
One thing, and just like, you know, I'm going to agree here a little bit, but I want to see a drive in people. I want to see that they want to come to work and they want to try as hard as they can every day to make a difference. That means a lot to me.
Mhm.
And I see people that are just moping around. They have no drive to advance. That's why they're there.
Mhm.
I'm sorry to say it that way, but that's what we want to have good staff, and we want to have people that really want to make that difference.
Mayor, it's about time to start the other meeting. If you wish to close the workshop, there will be an agenda item in the regular meeting to set some public hearing dates, but there's no other action on that.
Excellent.
Do we have a closed session on the other meeting? Or no?
We don't.
I have a question for you maybe later.
All right, this, the workshop is now closed. And the time is 7:06. Meeting is we're going to get started on a regular meeting. The City of Cotulla City Council will meet up for a regular meeting on Thursday, August 10th, 2023 at 7 p.m. at the Alexander Convention Center, Conference Room 290, North IH-35, Access Road, Cotulla, Texas. This is open meeting, subject to open meeting laws of the state of Texas. Roll call. I believe we have only Mr. Ayala. Ms. City Secretary, did Mr. Gilbert Ayala call in? Work related. Okay, I need a first motion to excuse Mr. Ayala. First motion is made by Mr. Rodriguez. I need a second. Second by Mr. Handel Garcia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Will everybody please join me on the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Citizens to be heard. City Council cannot discuss any present issue, nor may any action be taken on any given issue at this time. Ms. City Secretary, was there any citizens to be heard? Mr. Zamora,
Yes, sir.
welcome.
Mayor, Councilman, I'm gonna hand out from the topics that I'm gonna be discussing. These are important not only for me, but also have an understanding, because I've been quite active in some of the functions of the city in the past, and I just want to make sure or have a clarification of what my status is. You might want to keep going.
Thank you.
Well, as I stated, these are areas of concern that affect me personally and my neighbors, and also a clarification. I've been quite active in city business by appointment through the years, and I just want to know what has happened and if it's valid or not. Number one, as it reads, it has to do with the easements. The city put out a survey not too long ago to give input on easements that were of concern. Two concerns that I have on those easements are the sewer easement that runs off North Market, goes around and comes across the Bud Quinster property, and then it comes to 97. The other one is the gas easement that runs in the back of the Family Dollar, my property. And I don't know if that line is active or not, but we were providing services at one time to the city, selling them gas. I don't know if that gas department and those lines are even active. If they're not active, well, I would like to know, because it's a hazard if it's active, and we do not maintain it. We have grown trees that need to be uprooted and mowed, and the brush taken out if it's a lifeline. So that is to be considered and determined. Number two, it has to do with an engineer firm that was hired by the city. I never met the individual, even though I requested a meeting over to find out. I guess the effort by the city was to eliminate all unnecessary easements and put all the easements in perspective. This has not, I have not participated in any kind of decision-making or input on what easements I have concern, because some of those easements are on my property. So even though it has been discussed, it's pending. So I have a concern that I think that, and I don't know if we're paying an engineer and the guy's doing some work, but I do not know that he's doing work in my property. So I would like to know who that firm is, and also who the engineer, so I can contact and probably make an appointment to go over the work that he's supposed to be doing. And also if that engineer does exist. North Market Street. That's the street that goes directly into my property. And that's where the sewer easement of concern is I'm questioning. North Market, we've discussed with Mr. Rovalina and Mr. Wright concerning the fact that that street, what we call a street, is not a street. It's, if anything, we'd have to call it an easement, because it belongs supposedly to the railroad company. On the other hand, from north to south, all the properties, the streets that are parallel to the railroad belong to the railroad company. So I see that on the south side, there's a lot of work on bettering one of the streets that supposedly the street has to be 50 feet away from the middle of the railroad. Well, this one is almost on top of the railroad, but there's a lot of improvement. They widen the street, and I wonder how we can do that over there and not on North Market or any other place along the railroad. So I would like some answers to that. The Plaza Florita, and I saw that when we started this, a committee was set up to represent the community, and I was elected the chairman, and up to now, nobody has told me that I'm not the chairman, but needless to say, that committee has become like null and void. It's not being used. I have a lot of information, and I have sort of an idea of how the process is going to occur. I see that there's a contract for $19,000 for something that's going to happen on the Florita Plaza. We are not involved. And my question is, because there are plans already in place of what's going to happen, what is that money what are we going to do with that $19,000? Let's see, where does it fall in the big picture? $19,000 ain't gonna do it to come up with a finished product. So again, has the committee, has the PLUSA committee has been eliminated, has been restructured? Do I have a role in it anymore? That I need to know. See, because if still is active, then I think that we need to know what those individuals are gonna do. So that's one. The other one, ironically, is another item that was addressed, and that's the zoning of property. I thought that we had, and that I was part of that committee called the zoning board. Okay, it hasn't been used years. We used to have a map that divided the whole community or the city into various zones, depicting what kind of properties and businesses could be developed in that area. So I question that again. What is my role in that? Does that exist? It seems like it doesn't exist anymore because the decisions that are being done in zoning is coming to the city. And then you have decided of what's commercial and what's residential. So I'm assuming that you have, and the process is not wrong, and that's not what is in question. My question is, what happened to the zoning board, and what happened to the role that those individuals that were selected are playing, if anything at all? And that said, I documented this and I leave it with you because somewhere along the line, I need some answers on that. Appreciate your time and attention to me.
Mr. Zamora, is it possible we could meet on Monday at some time?
Pardon?
Could we meet on Monday? Because I do have some answers for quite a few of the questions.
All right, I'll be talking to you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Zamora. If there's no more citizens to be heard, departmental and committee reports. Code compliance.
Before you're going further, municipal court didn't give a report,
Municipal
and
court.
she's not in today.
Well, usually we've never requested her presence to be in here, even if we went before when Mr. Dovalina was here, since her job is minimal. I told her that,
Okay.
yeah,
I see. I foresee in my. I foresee,
it's very minimal.
but I foresee in my eyes, if she's on the payroll, if she's getting paid, she should be here giving. If there's nothing in for documentation to speak out, should be here, in my opinion. At least once a month. It's only one day, but that's my opinion.
You said her report is in here? Okay. Code compliance.
Code compliance, Mayor, he is at a class today. I can say for the department that I took him out personally this week, and I took him around town and I showed him a lot of issues of compliance that we have within the city. I gave him direction on things that we need to take care of as far as high grass, abandoned vehicles, some structures that we have in town that are literally falling over. He is currently working on it, but he is at a class right now.
Okay.
When do you foresee him being 100% out of the field and doing the report?
Realistically, I would out in the field, he could probably be pretty soon. For him to have the knowledge or the complete knowledge that he needs to do the job besides the peace officer, I would say at the beginning of September.
Okay, appreciate it.
Water and wastewater.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mr. Wright. For the month of July, the aquifer level is at 531. Our demand for the month was 13,939,000 gallons with a daily demand of 1.7 million gallons. That's pretty much all I have. Other than also the guys have been working really hard in this weather, working on water leaks that we've had here recently. So that's all I have right now on the water. There's any questions?
I have one question. What stage though are we? We're still in the
We're still in stage 1.
stage 1?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That water leak on Main Street by the catch and carry, is that done and taken care of?
Yes, sir. That was done. They worked on it all day and mostly into late at night, till almost like 1 o'clock Saturday morning. They got it stopped and it started leaking again, I guess, with the traffic. So I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, we went back in there, got the parts, the correct parts. We redid the whole setup so it wouldn't blow out anymore. So, but it's been completed.
That one was kind of interesting the way it was set up, as being that you had a storm drain and the line was actually traversing over the storm drain and back down. So we did have to order parts. We got it to work to where it was not leaking, with the expectation of ordering the proper parts. And then they went back and replaced the proper parts.
Are we getting together with the street department to finish smoothing that area out and taking those cones out already, or?
Yes, sir.
We're gonna wait a
been
little
done
bit
already. They already put asphalt down on the road there.
Okay, excellent,
So it's already been taken care of.
excellent.
I noticed that you also had another leak at one of the courthouse.
Yes, sir. We had one. That one started yesterday. We called in for locates, and the crew went out there today after lunch and worked on it, and it's been completed.
Okay, thank you.
And the water levels are maintaining good?
Yes, sir. Right now we're sitting at 531.
Wastewater,
On the wastewater, really don't have much other than the sewer line project that we have going on right now. The contractors have completed all but about 200 feet to the section where they have to bore under 97, where it goes down to Airport Road. And once that is completed, then they go back, do the final touch-ups around the manholes, and then we get our punch list to see what else needs to be done.
Coming back to the punch list. I know the letter you showed me on the 11th.
Yes.
Make sure that that is on the punch list that before they
Yes.
sign the paper.
So end result there is this: if that contractor does not respond to the demand letter that we sent him, the city is going to go ahead and make the repairs to the fencing.
Okay.
And from the retainage that is owed to the contractor at the
Gonna
end of
charge
the
it.
project, we're going to subtract it from that. I'm trying to give him the chance to do the right thing right now.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, then we're going to fix it.
I appreciate it.
Either way, that'll get fixed.
Okay, thank you. Coming back to wastewater, you still having problems with, I guess, the white piece and all that?
It's minimal right now, but coming into the winter, with the grease and everything, we may see an increase in it.
Yeah.
But hopefully not. It's wishful
Generally-
thinking. But
Generally in the summertime, and then when school's not active, it kind of slows down.
Okay.
When the weather changes, it gets cold and the grease gets harder, it'll start to lock up into the line.
Thank you.
any other questions for Mr. Jimmy,
No, sir.
Councilman? Jimmy, thank you very much for that presentation.
well, I'm going to do the gas
gas?
as well. Yes, sir.
Gas department,
On the gas, we had 3 leaks. 2 were repaired within the day, and we are need to repair 1. We also did our 2023 leak survey, and it was discovered there were 34 leaks in the distribution. 34 of those were grade 1 leaks. Oh, sorry, one grade 2 leak, and then the rest were grade 3. Let's see, then that was 33 of them. The gas market price was was $3.62 per cubic foot, and with a total of 2,256 cubic feet for the month of July. July. I'm sorry, I made a mistake there at the bottom.
So last year when we did the leak survey, I believe there were 76 active grade 1 or grade 3 leaks in the city of Cotulla. So we do see an improvement there. There is only 33. Obviously, within a year's time, some new ones came out. They are being addressed as we have a large list now, and they will be addressed. The department itself, we have changed up some staff in the department. Also, Mr. Juan Velasquez has agreed to work 3 days a week, 4 hours a day to help us with the restructure and trading of the department.
That's good.
So, but we are moving forward.
It's good.
Any other questions for Mr. Jimmy on gas department?
No, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Streets and parks. Mr. Thomas?
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members, Mr. Wright. The monthly report for the Public Works is street personnel demolished a structure at 304 Leona Street. The customer paid the demo fee. We also hauled several loads of dirt to construct a berm for the gun range that's going to be utilized by TDC personnel for qualification purposes. We also cut grass and trees along the fence line at the St. Vincent Hall. We also utilized the walk behind saw to cut a square of pavement on South Main Street by the cash and carry due to a water leak that was repaired by the water department and refilled it with co-mix asphalt, so it's open to the public. We also assisted the Parks and Recreation by cutting grass at Veterans Park, Plaza Florita, and Martinez Park. And that's my report.
Very good. So during the budget, I did bring up that Robbie Thomas has 3 staff members that did pass the test for the applicator's license for the mosquitoes, which was, of course, Mr. Thomas and Mr.
Joel
Joey Velasquez and Joel Montenegro. So city's never had 3. I think historically, and this is just from what I remember, I don't think anybody ever passed the test that ever went before. So we're on track now to actually do what we need to do as far as the application for the mosquitoes. The applicator that the street department has, it's not working. It's in bad shape. It's old. I have asked Mr. Thomas to get me a buy-board quote for a new unit. Once I receive the quote and the city orders it, which will be in the new budget out of operation and maintenance, was it 6 months that you told me the turnaround time was?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Mr. Thomas is tasked to get me the quote as soon as possible because we know that there's going to be a good lead time.
Appreciate that.
And then we can start spraying for mosquitoes and purchase the chemicals and all that like we're supposed to.
Any other questions for Mr. Thomas, Councilman?
No, sir.
If not, Mr. Thomas, can you also do sanitation?
Yes, you should have the report on your, I didn't know he was not going to be here, so
Yeah, he's not here. I'm wondering if you can do the presentation.
it should be in your packet. Everything's going good. Trucks are running good. We have one truck at Rush Trucking. Leave's supposed to be coming out pretty soon, but all the other trucks are in operation. The guys are doing a great job. I mean, the heat is bad, but they're out there doing a job commercially and residential.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No problem. Also,
So the
animal
trucks are working pretty good?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The trucks are operational.
What about the sweeper?
The sweeper, it's operational. It's had a little problems, but I think Mr. Martinez met with Mr. Wright.
The hopper bag in the back of the sweeper, there's been some repairs on them, rudimentary repairs. I believe it's getting some rust. And Mel did have a concern about it. Pretty much at this point, I told him, let's hold on a little bit and we'll get to it as soon as we can.
Besides the rust that is accumulated already, how about the water lines to spray while he's sweeping?
He never mentioned that to me. He mainly mentioned the bag or the hopper in the back, and that Mr. Güero Yella has made repairs to it, and that eventually it is going to get to the point where it needs to be replaced.
Yeah, he might look into that water system because apparently I've seen him when he's sweeping, it accumulates all that dust, and sometimes it clogs the filters up and all
He
that.
didn't mention it to me, that part, but I'll ask him.
Okay, appreciate it.
Mr. Thomas, do you know how long we've had that truck already?
The sweeper,
Yeah.
It's been more than 10 years.
yeah, 10 years. Yeah, it's been over 10
We
years.
get it around 2013?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so we might have to start thinking about that for the following year to replace it. All right, any other questions for Mr. Thomas, Councilman?
No, sir.
Mr. Thomas, thank you very much for that
Also,
report.
Mayor, the animal control officer couldn't be here tonight. You should have his package.
Yes.
He's gonna have the CDO testing driving tomorrow in Laredo, so he couldn't be here tonight.
Hopefully it passes.
Hopefully, he'll have it at 10:30 tomorrow.
On this animal control, where the animals are being stored right now, is the heat affecting them pretty bad on the animals itself?
Do you want to speak to that? I know you
Yes,
have
no.
fans there. I know that I would see that they go and would spray and they
Yes,
would wet the animals.
Yes,
Um,
they have fans. Each and every kennel has a fan, and they go there. We're trying to make a rounds as much as we can so we can check on the dogs and make sure that but yeah, they're getting, fed and making sure they're maintained.
I appreciate it.
Excellent. Any questions for Mr. Thomas?
No, sir.
Thank you
Thank
very much for that report, Mr. Thomas. Main Street.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wright, Mayor, and Council. Plaza Florida restrooms and parking facility project. Notice to bidders was advertised on July the 26th. We held a pre-bid conference on August the 2nd. Sealed bids will be open on August the 23rd. We have 4 potential bidders, none who have previously bid. The health fair. Bianca, Georgia, Jennifer, and I attended the Chamber of Commerce Back to School Health Fair on August the 2nd. We distributed 250 drawstring bags and water bottles. Distributed 100 bags with school supplies inside. The Hispanic Heritage Festival. It is already finalized with the lineup. The flyer should be in your packet. I chose 12 vendors to participate. The street department has been assisting with painting the bathrooms adjacent to the gazebo at Plaza Florida. The cakewalk circle will be repainted next week to use for the Hispanic Heritage Festival cakewalk. The Economic Development Survey was launched on August the 7th. The flyer has been included. It's already been published on the city website, on the Main Street website, and Facebook. Postcards were sent to every resident within the city limits. The survey ends on August the 31st. Today, we held an appreciation luncheon for the successful 4th of July celebration, honoring everyone who contributed to the success of this event. Not included in your report is Chick-fil-A. So I reached out to the owner of the Southwest Military Food Truck on July the 28th. Today, the owner has agreed to put Cotulla on his calendar for September. Dates will be discussed later. I will be collaborating with Mr. Albert Agüero on the empty lot that is located at 102 South Main Street, and he will let us use that parking lot free of charge. Cotulla Main Street will start advertising as soon as dates are given to us. Any questions?
The motivation to this here is the gentleman has an interest in Cotulla. So he does want to bring his food truck here, and it may be consecutive months, every 2 weeks. For me, the city may do a non-financial advertisement for him, because end result could be this: we have a brick and mortar Chick-fil-A here in Cotulla. Was it correct that you told me that he owns 17 franchises?
17 franchises.
So it's not just a guy that owns a food truck. He owns 17 stores, and he's actually found some interest in Cotulla. And really, that is thanks to the communication of Margie with the owner.
That's a good first step to
Right.
maybe bringing him. They'll build one here.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
community, I know everyone loves Chick-fil-A, but we all should make that effort and purchase, because we might actually get one here if we success.
Correct.
It's all theoretic, but
That is correct.
You got to start somewhere.
That's correct. And I want to thank you very much for an awesome job you did for the banquet today.
Thank you.
And I know the 4th of July was great also. It was awesome. Just want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Any more questions? Thank you.
Moving on to the accounting.
Um, Yeah, Brett actually had orientation. He is registered for college for his master in finance. And he's also taken interest in the CPA, and it just happened that his orientation was between 7 and 9 today. So I'm going to go ahead and give the financial report. If you look at page 1, the sales tax report, August collections of the sales tax was $203,736. Total since October would put us at $2,299,863. That is 40% higher compared to this time last year. You take a look at page 2, hotel motel occupancy tax. July collections was $194,132. Total collections of $1,096,425 for the fiscal year, which is actually, it's an increase from last year. General fund totals, page 6. Revenue, total revenue, $2,479,472. Expenditures, $2,453,433. That leaves the city with a net income of $26,038. If we go to page 9, water and sewer fund total, revenues. Revenues, total revenue for the city is $1,774,309. Total expenditures is $1,277,970. So you have a net income of the water department of $496,338. Page 11, municipal gas fund revenue. So your total revenue is $332,451. Your expenditures are $229,662 for a net income of $102,662. Okay, page 13, solid waste fund. Your total revenue for the year is $693,631. Expenditures, $834,902. So you're at a net loss of $141,270 in municipal solid waste. Last report in your ledger is a check register for the month of July, and take a moment and take a look at that. And if there's any questions, I'll do my best.
And the solid waste that we're minus, is this, I guess, expenditures that we're doing, is it bulk inside the city yard at the sewer plant?
So I think our general loss is pounds of trash that we're receiving per month compared to rate.
Okay.
So the rate that we're charging the customers and the amount of trash that is being disposed by the customer is more than what we're
What
collecting.
we're spending.
Now, I want to we do have an interlocal with Ponderosa, which is now the City of Laredo landfill. We have a tipping fee at $38 a ton. That is a very low tipping fee. I guess the normal customer going in, I think their tipping fee is around $90 a ton. So the right decisions have been made, and we're in the right place as far as the landfill. We're not in the right place as far as the rate. And that is what the issue is.
Not only that, our trucks keep on breaking down too.
So you have had capital improvements on vehicles. We have bought new trash trucks, which has been necessary. You have trucks that break down, older trucks. You have had issue with newer trucks. Just things happen, and then maintenance. And
I know that the city's not charging the individuals that go dump their trash on Saturdays or Wednesdays.
Right. So generally, for just regular household trash, a person that lives within the city limits that holds a water bill are able to dump their trash for free. It has to be a household trash.
Okay.
So they're not going to accept construction or anything like that unless it's paid. We charge for that, and they do bring their trailers to City Hall. We measure, and then they times it by the rate of what it is in the ordinance.
That's also the same for the branches as well.
Okay.
It's
Correct,
free
yeah.
on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And we do that so people can actually clean their yards and maintain them clean. So they won't have to pay anything extra.
Did the individual that lives in Los Angeles, did he get that dumpster requested?
Yeah, so we do have dumpster service outside of the city limits. I believe Los Angeles, Woodward, Gardendale, north of Gardendale. In our surrounding area, that there is dumpster service.
Yeah, some of those dumpsters have been requested by Commissioner Ayala.
Yeah, because the one I'm talking about is Charlie Seidel had requested one right there where Ruby's Lounge is.
Yeah, specifically, I don't know that one. We would probably have to ask Mel. Mel has a pretty good memory and record of all the dumpsters that are outside the city.
All right. Thank you.
Councilman, any other questions on the accounting
No, sir.
report? If not, moving on to building and maintenance.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor, Mr. Wright. On my report, there's no significant changes to my report, just a basic upkeep of the civic center and City Hall. Any questions?
No changes on the building or anything on the,
No.
No.
You're good.
well, thank you for that report, sir.
Thanks.
Moving on to item number 6, approval of minutes, July 13, 2023. Councilman, did you have a chance to review the minutes?
Yes, sir.
If you all did, I need a first motion to approve the minutes.
All right.
First motion by Mr. Zatucha, second by Mr. Ayala. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, discussion and possible action on a contractor's payment request draw number 2 submitted by South Construction Management LLC in the amount of $75,415.50 for the Cotulla Baylor sidewalk improvements.
This project is a draw that was obviously previously approved through council for the total project. We're bringing it to you for approval for just a specific draw. To date, I see that the sidewalk looks like it's completed. The drainage is also, well, there's 2 drainage areas that they did through the sidewalk down into the property. I see that there's still going to be dirt work that needs to be completed, you know, to maintain and create the drainage that needs to be there. There's still pending signage, and there's going to be some crosswalks painted. The crosswalks that are being painted are not in this contract, but I'm asking to add it. I've asked the contractor to add it to it. So there may be a change order towards the end for that specific.
Thank you.
Councilman, if there's no further question, I seek a first motion to approve item number
I have a
7.
question.
Sure.
The draw that you're asking now, that's gonna be, how much more or less do you figure out how much more on the draw? Besides with the signage, with the striping, how much?
How much for the striping?
Yes.
I can only guess at the moment, and I would say two crosswalks would probably be $1,500. So
So that'll be additional on the draw.
that would probably be an additional.
And it'll be on the change order as well.
Right, at the end of the project, we'll come in with a change order for it.
Okay.
I seek a first motion to approve item number 7.
All right.
First motion by Mr. Zatucha, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, discussion and possible action on an invoice estimate number 5 submitted by T Construction LLC in the amount of $95,817.71 for the Cotulla LaSalle County Airport Sewer Main Street Project.
This is the same as the last. The contractor is looking for a draw. I believe the contractor has 100 foot of line that is left and 1 bore left remaining to complete in the project. After that, he will have an inspection, and then he will be completed on the project.
So this is the final payment for
This
it?
is, no, sir, this is one of the draws. He's gonna have another payment, which would include retainage. minus whatever we have to take out.
And what is the estimated of completion? Date of completion?
Well, from our last meeting, which we had last month, mid-month, he was hoping to be completed this month. It looks like he is on track. I would say inspection would be in September. They were hoping to have it in August, but I don't see that happening. So I think September is when we'll have a closeout for this project.
Excellent. Councilman, any other questions on item number 8?
No, sir.
Not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 8.
Aye.
First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Sertuche. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 9, discussion and possible action on a quote submitted by Mobile Communications America for an outdoor warning siren in the amount of $76,629.89.
This is something that over the years has come to the city of Cotulla from council members, also from the community, and from our volunteer fire department. We have an opportunity here in front of us, which is a buy board quote, to actually purchase the system. As far as the details of the system, I would like Mr. Chris Gordon to come on up and give a presentation.
David, is that one system or two?
This one here is for one.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, Mayor, Council, City Manager, Mr. Wright. First, just an introduction. My name is Chris Gordon. I'm a Texan, and I'm excited to provide safer solutions for Texans. I cover 34 states for Mobile Communications America. I'm the program manager for mass notification systems. This is what I do. This is my company's bailiwick, is putting in outdoor warning siren systems and weather management systems for cities. I'm an elected official myself, so I also appreciate the work that you're doing as volunteers. So first, I'd just like to show you in your advance packet, you probably received what was called a propagation study. It's basically a little Google image of your city and a big red circle around it. And what this shows you is the amount of area that will be covered. Not in the packet. Okay, I'll share with you. Your city's in the middle. This is where we're proposing putting a 60-foot pole near your utilities department area. And it's going to have what's called an R3 siren on top that will rotate around and will send out a tone or a whoop or a well that means different things whenever an activation comes down. The way that this is proposed at 70 decibels, one siren will get you about 2.5 to 3 miles of audible tone at 70 decibels.
Is that radius?
Yes, sir. Full circumference. And I'll be happy to walk this around to you.
There you go.
Email it to you as well. What this means is a lot of other sirens, they might only be good for a couple of thousand yards or 1 mile. This is it's the biggest siren that's out on the market. It's a mechanical siren, and it's going to get you the best bang for your buck. Really, it goes all the way up to 624 at the very top. It comes down to down past Monarch Highway, all the way over to the Flying J Travel Center. It really covers just about all of your city. The only place that's lapping is towards your ETJ, which is moving down 468. If you were to fund one, I would make sure your county commissioner is aware and see if your county commissioner might budget next year for a second pole for you to cover some of the ETJ area in any of the city that's not covered in this lower quadrant here. Any questions on the propagation?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
Where exactly will be that
This will
installed?
go on Carrizo Street at the Carrizo well next to the courthouse.
The water tower, where it used to be the other one?
Yeah,
Yes.
All right.
that's the best place for it.
Yes, I think so.
Explain the weight and the reasoning why we would not put this one on the water tower.
Yes, we did an engineering study to see if we could use your beautiful 140-foot structure. Your current horn system from the 50s, it is at about the 50-foot level. We're going to put this at the 60-foot level. Because of the guide wires, we can't lift 9 amplifiers that are stacked or this R4 siren with the crane and get it past the guide wires on top of the same platform where the black horns are at now. Let me rephrase it. We could, but it would cost us twice as much to make that happen and to remove that old equipment using a crane and a lift to get that equipment down and get the new equipment up. It's more economic to put in a fresh 60-foot treated class 2 wooden pole. We're going to bury it 10 feet so that it's at the 50-foot level. Then there'll be a metal pole mount at the top of 50 feet that will have the R4 siren on top of it. And it's as tall as we are. It's human size. It's a massive horn. It happens to be the same horn that the city of Dilley has had for almost 20 years now. We just, at their city council last month, we were able to approve rapid horn activation software for them. We'll talk about that in a minute. That's on your quote as well. So it's the same siren that Dilley has had successfully for quite a while, in the same software system as well. So looking at the quote, it's dated 8/1/23A, 080123A, quote A. First line item is Vortex R4 directional oscillating high power tone only speaker. Forgive me, I speak quick. Slow me down if you need me to. You see the line item price for that siren. That siren comes with a 5-year warranty, but as Dilley can attest, it's going to last you 20 plus years. It's everything that Whelan, the company that I represent through Mobile Communications America as a master distributor, 100% of their product is made in the USA. There's no parts that are assembled or built in China or anywhere else. It is 100% fully assembled in the United States. It's the only mass notification warning siren system in America right now. It's funny because Federal Signal, American Signal, some of our competitors, they're made in China, but assembled in Chicago, assembled here. So you're getting a true quality product. We also installed an intrusion alarm with that. What that is it basically it's going to tell you there's going to be a cabinet about 12 feet off the ground that has an expensive radio in it, copper, batteries. It's the backup. We're going to install it with 110 volts. If it were on a metered line, which I don't think this one is proposed for a meter, but if it were, on average, those poles use about $8.63 of energy a month in Texas. The only time it's getting energy is whenever there's a warning, activation, and notification, or when you're doing a silent test or an audible test. And that's up to you. We might do a silent test every day that you don't know about. You might hear just a click, and that's it. Or you might do an audible test every Wednesday. Whatever this team decides, that's how we'll program it. The next thing is the Digital Turbo XPR 5550E radio control station. And it's important, I put 45 watt there. Most radios are 20 watts or less. We're putting a 45 watt just to make sure that when you do expand, you've got the energy and the power without requiring a repeater to get that RF signal to your next pole. Or if you were to move your activation center from your city center complex, move it somewhere else for some reason, you still got a good amount of length of RF frequency to go to be able to move it around. If you had just a simple little deer camp radio, you wouldn't have that ability. You get 100, 200 yards away from it, you're not going to be able to activate your siren. Another good thing about this type of Motorola digital turbo radio is that it's digitally secure. I don't know if you've heard about Roanoke, Texas, Decatur, Texas, Dallas, Texas. They've all been victims of kids, smart young kids going on Amazon, buying a $29 part, walking up to a warning siren, using DTMF codes and turning that siren on. And everybody in the city is like, what's going on? We're not having a hailstorm. We don't have this type of radio will prevent that because it's digitally secure. You can't accept those frequencies into any other type of device. Only your town will have control of that, and we'll do all of the programming for you. The next line item is the Siren Control Center. These are each pole. You've only got one pole for now, but as you grow, the pole has a radio on it. So from your activation center, you have a radio that's going to the radio that's on your pole. So that's the two different types of control stations that you got. And then we will have a new digital turbo FCC license coordinated for you. That's yours for 10 years. You pay one fee. Your initial fee is more expensive. At the end of 10 years, I think it bumps down to like 215, 200. Like, of course, prices could go up in the next 10 years, but that's where we are today. And we won't install anything that's not FCC coordinated. We would be liable for installing a new system that the FCC wasn't aware of. And this also protects you because it makes sure that your licensed frequency can't be used by a petrochem company or a mall coming in or anything else in the future. This license will be only for you. Nobody else will have the access to it. It'll be locked out.
The importance of having a separate license is that we actually have a license for our water system. Our SCADA is radio controlled also. So this will require a second frequency. If we use the same frequency, the SCADA system or the water system, as it turns on, it could possibly sound off the siren and things like that. So it is definitely necessary to have a second.
Or you could turn on a pump at the same time an activation was going out, and you wouldn't receive one or the other of those. But because it's when those pushes come down from the National Weather Service, they're instantaneous and they don't come back to you. You got one shot at catching it until like every 3 minutes, the National Weather Service might resend it or change the time on it. And we'll get into that further as well. This system also comes with what's called the rapid warrant activation. It's basically a computer that you put at dispatch or inside the city manager's office or wherever you deem is appropriate. That computer, we want a sign on it that says, never turn this computer off. This computer's on 24/7, and it's what's always receiving all of the pushes from the National Weather Service, from you want a hot air balloon forecast or a chemical cloud, and you'll laugh about a chemical cloud, but 3 times this year, the city of Weatherford, the city of McKinney, the National Weather Service has initiated a chemical cloud activation because of a train derailment. Chlorine gas is coming over your city from 10:10 to 10:18. Please stay inside, shelter in place. That would be the message that you would want to push out. A lot of things that you're not activating for now, or if you were doing it through a software only to subscribers. But that being said, with this rapid warrant software in the future, if you get ready to push this out to subscribers in your town, when the siren goes off, you could also get a text, a chat, an email. That wouldn't be any extra expense. You don't need an Everbridge solution or a Rave solution, one of these other software solutions out there. This same software package is capable of doing all of that at the same time. But that's where we haven't really gotten that deep into it. Baby steps, let's get your tone going, get your citizens used to hearing that alarm. And when you're ready to say, hey, if you want to subscribe to this service, give us your email address and we'll create a group for you. And you can start getting the notifications. Even if you're on the beach down in Corpus, you can still know if your home's getting hailstorm or not. Let's see here. It comes with the siren controller, the software license for the siren controller that includes the weather. It's got a 1-year maintenance agreement. There is no annual licensing for it. Once you own the license, it's your system. If you have the annual license maintenance agreement, all that does is give you the ability to, if we need to add hardware or firmware or do additional programming, or you want to change the timing of your silent alarms, we take over your system remotely through IP and can do all of that work for you. It comes with your system the first year. Year 2, it's $1,800 again if you want the annual maintenance. You don't have to have it. But if you want something changed, then it's a per hour fee. And then the most important thing to talk about this rapid one, the reason you have it, is it's automatic activation of anything that the National Weather Service pushes down. If you go with an encoder or just a radio, somebody has to physically be there, push in a sequence of numbers to ping the radio to sound off at 4 o'clock in the morning. If you don't have somebody sitting at staff watching the computer, you wouldn't be able to activate. This gives you foolproofing, so you're not going to miss that activation. And today, I think the top 5 things that we're talking about are severe wind over 70 miles an hour, hail that's 2.5 inches or greater in diameter, obviously tornado, flash flooding. It could even be active shooter, a scenario like that. That's up to you guys. If you purchase, we come back with our software engineer and we design that system custom for your needs and your desires. The red part and bottom, that's just the fun stuff. We are on 5 different buy board co-ops. Wheelan has their own one as well. It's called Sourcewell, but you got to pay 10% of the cost to be a member. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, we're already part of buy board and HGAC. That's why we
absolutely, and we're on HGAC as well. Projects over $50,000 do require a 40% milestone payment before we can order. That just gives us the ability to order the equipment from Wheelan that's made in Connecticut and Maryland and have that shipped to Texas. And if you do order, what does day one look like? We're not going to ship you a computer and then ship you a siren and then ship you a radio. We're not going to ship you anything until we're ready. Then we're going to program everything in our shop. We have shops in Houston, Tyler, Longview, Arlington, Texas, Corpus Christi, Georgetown, and Austin. We've got over 2,000 employees. We've got 88 radio shops across the country. We are not a fly-by-the-night mom and pop organization. We are Motorola's premier dealer, and we're Wheelin's premier dealer for the United States. So I've already said 100% made in the USA, complies with all federal, state, and local grants because it's made in the USA. What did I miss? Any questions?
Yes, sir. I got several of them.
Yes, sir.
I know you mentioned that it's $1,800 for every year.
Yes, sir.
Year. So in reality, when you install it, does it have any warranty?
Yes, sir. The Motorola radios have a 5-year warranty. The Wheelin equipment has a 5-year warranty.
Okay.
The labor has a 1 year.
Okay. I believe you said it costs about $8 and something of electricity.
Yeah, 863 is kind of the average what we're seeing with our Texas customers. We've got over 400 customers in Texas using Rapid Warn software now.
Is there any possibility can a solar panel be installed to save that electricity money?
You absolutely can, but the solar panels are going to cost you more than $6,000, and in a hailstorm you might lose it. To me, a battery for backup is better than solar. That's just my preference, but you can absolutely put solar on it as well. You could have triple redundancy if you wanted it, but the Wheelin approved batteries last on average 4 to 5 years. And we test them once a week or whatever you tell us to do. So we make sure that you always have your primary 110 volt, 120 volt going to it, as well as backup battery.
This installation of the will be higher than the water tower itself, or
No, sir.
level?
Not at all.
Okay.
We want the sirens at 50 to 60 feet.
Okay.
So it's a 60-foot pole buried 10 feet with 9 feet of equipment on top of that 50-foot pole. So ultimately you'll be at about 58, 59 feet.
Okay. If the power goes off, the electricity goes off, would it be best to have a generator?
No, because that's where you're going to depend on those backup batteries for.
Okay.
Because when a siren goes off, a thunderstorm rolls through, it's going to go off for 3 minutes on average. If you want it to go off a second time, you can tell it to go off a second time. But 3, 6, 12 minutes, 20 minutes in a month, that's not going to suck your battery down, even if you don't have the electricity. And we only need the electricity for the horn because the radio does the activation.
I have a question on that one. So generally, normal operation would be just standard power from our light company. I would imagine that you're going to have some kind of transfer switch, and if power was lost from our light company, would automatically switch to the battery.
So yes, you went a little bit deeper than I would because I'm not an electrician. What we ask for is just 110, 120 volt drawn overhead or underground up to the pole.
So they'll have a trickle to the battery with the transfer switch, and the second we lose power, it would transfer. You'd have coverage that way.
That's correct. As soon as it loses that load, it automatically goes to a daisy chain of all of the batteries.
There you go.
And the control to sound off the horn and all that, will that be controlled in a certain area like city office or?
Well, from what I've gained is that it's predominantly automated. We're going to program it to certain parameters, and it'll be automated. If we need to make changes or we need to sound it, it would be from City Hall.
Okay.
So I don't know anywhere else any safer in the community than City Hall.
Can it be controlled also if you're not at the city hall? If it happens 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, can it be controlled by a phone? Or-
So is there availability to put IP into the phone and control it?
There is, but you won't need it. Nobody has to be there.
Okay.
This is the automatic activation.
Okay.
Now, if you did not go with the software and you went with the encoder, you would need somebody there to do it, and then they could do a GTMF through a radio as well.
Okay.
If you had a matching Motorola radio.
No other questions.
Y'all are letting me off easy. All right.
All
Thank you
right,
for your
Chris,
time.
thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
that.
Yes.
If there's no further discussion on item number 9, I'd seek a first motion to approve item number 9.
I motion.
First motion by Mr. Zatucci, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 10, discussion and possible action on the proposal submitted by Able City for the revitalization and restoration of Plaza Florita and its surrounding properties not to exceed $19,250.
Okay, I also have Mr. Solis here from Able City. Before he gives his presentation, this quote here is the preliminary part of beginning to design plans for all the buildings that have been purchased for the upgrade project that we want to do, including the Plaza Florita. It is the full intention of the city to reinstate the board or committee that was here in the past, which I have seen evidence recently that it was enacted. We are going to reinstate that board. This is the first step before we do that. So we're going to ask, obviously, for council to approve this, so Mr. Solis can begin to design plans for the Guadalupe Hall, the Vasquez store, and the Plaza Florita and the Jimenez store. The Vasquez store is in closing. They have picked up the check for the $131,000 for the building. As soon as we close on the Vasquez store, we will be closing on the Jimenez store, and we will be complete. Also, I went and me and the mayor actually had a meeting with the superintendent, Mr. Cervantes, and he will be putting us on the agenda for their meeting to the effect of recommending donation of the Wellhausen School to the city of Cotulla. We are going to go and give a presentation to the school board. Mr. Pena has drafted a letter which will be submitted for their agenda. Everything for this project looks like it's starting to come together. And like I said, this is the beginning. This is where we start. I'm going to throw out there real quick the Planning and Zoning Commission. There is a Planning and Zoning Commission that was here years ago before I was ever here, but I am aware of it. And I am aware of who the chairperson was for the Planning and Zoning Commission. Some of the counselors that are here, I believe we've had conversation about this, and that you are aware that I am working on reinstating that commission also.
Let me, I just wanted to clarify my knowledge, is Mr. Zamora, there's a board of adjustment, which he was on.
Right.
But the Planning and Zoning Commission is actually the city
Is the
council.
council. And I had a different understanding that was told to me
Right.
years ago.
And the Type A general law municipality, the council can be your planning and zoning.
Yeah.
And that's what it's always been.
What I have seen in other cities that do have planning and zoning is to where they can recommend to council and they take all the work out of council, but the council still approves the zone.
In home rule municipalities, you have to have one, which we are not home rule.
I see.
You can have a planning and zoning commission. And there are certain things that if they approve, you have to have 2/3 votes and some other things to override it. But there are cities that are type A's that I worked with that have one. I don't think we get that much planning and zoning stuff that comes before the council.
I would probably agree with that.
So, you're going to have to constitute a commission that will probably not have a lot to do. And then you've got to have appointments and confirm them. And, you can do it, but at this point, the council has always been the.
Personally, I would leave that to the will of the council if they want it. We can leave it at that.
I think the Board of Adjustment, I think we've had one meeting ever. So.
I think that's what I saw also with the Plaza Florita board that has been established.
That's a committee.
Or committee. I did see that maybe they had one meeting and then it didn't happen.
I think the Plaza Florita committee was designed so they can bring in pictures and get as many pictures as possible to see how to restore back the Plaza Florita. So I believe that's why we formed that committee.
So committee, you can form any committees you want to. There's no qualifications. They're merely advisory. They don't have to comply with open meetings laws, any of that stuff. So, I know that in some municipalities that they have a lot of committees, but then it becomes an administrative issue trying to keep up with it. For example, we have a management committee for the Cristo Rey Cemetery. And that actually is one that will have to comply with the open meetings rules, even though their decisions are advisory. They're basically running that, there's going to have a budget and whatever. So there are things that are done that look good and sound good, but when even in a larger community, keeping up with all that stuff, people come and go. Look at Main Street, trying to keep people on the board there. I mean, that can be a challenge because people move, people come. You can't appoint them indefinitely. You got to have terms. You have to have paperwork. So those are all things that
Mhm.
you have to decide on whether you want them or not. And typically, committees are pretty informed.
Excellent. Sir,
Mr. Solis?
you want to continue, Mr. Solis?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and members of City Council, Mr. Wright. My name's Rick Solis. I'm an architect principal with Able City. Able City, we're an architectural planning and community engagement firm with offices in Laredo, San Antonio, the Valley, and El Paso. We met with administrative staff to discuss the proposed scope for this work. We are actually the architects that were worked on the Plaza Florita restroom and parking facilities that's currently being bid out as we speak. And so that project has already been done, and we're trying to get a price and a contractor to start that work. So we were approached to look at what the potential was for revitalization and restoration of Plaza Florita, both the plaza itself and the surrounding properties, those being the Jimenez store, Guadalupe Hall, and the Red Store, what we call the Red Store on Dock Street. This proposal is just for us to develop or to do a preliminary building assessment and also review the sort of what we could use the building for, as well as develop an opinion of probable cost or what it would take to either fix the building or, to basically to restore the building or revitalize it in some way. Essentially, what we'll be doing is taking all this information and adding it as an appendix to our master plan that we also did for the city of Cotulla some time back, to help and assist with what's going to be necessary for all these capital improvements that the city of Cotulla wants to undertake. In a nutshell, that's kind of what we're doing. We're very excited about this project. We're also very excited about the potential of the city obtaining the well housing school. We know what the historical significance of that property has for the city, and we're looking forward to assisting with any of that as well.
It was actually quite interesting. We had a project audit today through TDA, and we went out to Ortiz Street to take a look at the project. It was part of the audit, and one of the auditors, she looked at me and said, "Where's the school that Lyndon B. Johnson taught at? I would love to see that." And she was from Austin. And I said, "Well, man, if you just continue down Buckley Street straight, and you're gonna look, you're gonna run right into it." She said, "I'm gonna go down there. I can't wait to see that school." She said, "Is it called Lyndon B. Johnson School?" I said, "No, ma'am, it's called Waham." "Oh, okay." And she was really interested to go. And that sparked my mind there, because she's demographically, she's nowhere near Cotulla, and she had knowledge of that school. Yeah.
There's
So
actually,
there obviously some importance there.
there's actually some people that look for those landmarks, and they go across the country, going to city by city, and whether they're small cities or big cities,
Well,
they go from one city to the next.
Yeah, it definitely has a lot of historical significance. So very excited.
Any questions for Mr. Solis?
I have one, David, maybe you can answer. Do we, the city, have an idea more likely for the areas that we purchased already or about to purchase, what the city's initially going to want for those locations, or going to get suggestions from the public?
Yeah. So the Guadalupe Hall, I think we're gonna look to, of course, keep the facade the way it is. We're gonna want to modernize the building as far as electrical, AC, and things like that. And we would probably like to rent that building out in lieu of the convention center at a lower price. So people in that specific community can gather there and have any kind of event they want in the space. It's also been brought to me that maybe we could host bingo and different things there at that building. The Jimenez building is the same to where we're going to modernize the building. It has come to me that once we modernize and we fix the facade and have it historical, that we could possibly also rent that building at a low rate to a business owner that's relevant to what the building used to be as a meat market or a little convenience store at a very low rate so that they can have an opportunity to try to have a chance to have a business there. The Dora store or the Vasquez building, personally, this is going to be left to the council, I would say, but I was looking at maybe some kind of rec center in the building for the community and for the kids to be able to do something there and get them out of the streets.
Very good idea.
I want to leave that decision to the council, but in my opinion, that's what we should do with it. The Walhalsum School, obviously, we want to create a museum out of the entire school, honoring or dedicating to Lyndon B. Johnson. Of course, that's gonna generate the tourism, which puts the hot tax in effect to be able to do all this. But that's what we're looking for. The Plaza Florita itself, the general mood has been to bring the Plaza Florita back to how it originally was. And I think that would be back to the 1930 timeframe. The current bathrooms that are on the Plaza Florita, I'm going to be looking to contact Texas Parks and Wildlife, which offers the grant for that, and see what the statute of limitation was on the grant, so that we could actually demolish that. The awning, the techo that's there, we may be looking to relocate that to another site, being that it's not original. I believe there was, you had several aspects there, the benches. I think there was a pond at one point, or a little koi pool in the plaza. We want to restore everything to how it was.
Oh, the water fountain?
Yeah, but I think there was a koi pond there too, or something.
Yeah,
like
it's a
that.
koi pond with a water fountain in it.
And then, the city, I think the city might want to start to promote activity in the plaza again. Even at my point in 2002, when I started coming to Cotulla, there was activity in the plaza. There was Jamaica. There was different things that we could do. I did when I was younger, but I did the cakewalk, and it's gone. But we can bring that back, and we have the ability and opportunity to do it. Yep.
For your question earlier, Councilman, is you will get to see blueprints on everything. This is just preliminary, giving them permission to structure something on that. That's all it is.
And for me, input is welcome. I would like to know the input of the council. I would like to know the input of the community. I'd like to know what they want to see there. This is who we work for. This is who I work for. So that is very important to me, that we have a good project there that everybody's happy with, as best we can, of course. But
Well, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Solis?
No, sir.
No, thank you very much for that report or presentation, Mr. Solis. No further questions on item number 10. I seek a first motion to approve item number 10. First motion by Mr. Lopez, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
thank you, Mr. Foley.
Moving on to item number 11. We're going to table that. I've been asked by David to table that. I seek a first motion
Aye.
to table item number 11. First motion is by Mr. Satuche, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 12, discussion and possible action to set public hearing date for 2023-2024 municipal budget.
Mayor, according to my timeline, basically, we plan to approve the budget. That hearing date would be on the 14th of September, which is that the second Thursday?
You're close.
It might be the 13th because it seems, well, it could be the 14th.
14th going to be the second Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the 14th.
14th it is.
We'll be able to do it in a regular meeting.
Yes, you have it there.
Councilman, if there's no further question on the set date of September 14th, I seek a first motion to approve item number 12. First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Cotulla. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 13, discussion and possible action, setting a public hearing date for 2023, 2024 ad valorem tax rate. Are we doing the same
The same.
day, Mr. Peña?
Yes, sir.
Councilman, if there's no further questions on item number 13 on setting the same date of the September 14th, I seek a first motion to approve item number 13.
So move, Mayor.
First motion by Mr. Lopez, I seek a second. Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Before I adjourn, the city is doing an economic development community survey online. I don't know if you can zoom into this, Mr. Technician. There is a little square that's going to be sent out, mail out to everybody, all the constituents of the city of Cotulla. Hopefully they can take the survey or look at it. And if they have any questions, well, you can call the office and ask for Mr. Wright. Are you okay with that?
Yes, or one of the girls in the front. We also have a computer set up. They can do the survey actually.
Okay, and also we have a computer at City Hall. You can come in and do the survey as well.
Do we have a, Mayor, do we have a, Mr. City Administrator, do we have a set date for the completion of the survey?
I believe it is the last day of August.
31st.
So far, how's the, I guess, survey doing?
Well, I can speak on what I was told. As of yesterday, there was about 75 people that have responded to the survey. And the results from the survey are even all the way across the board. And it's not a positive reaction. And that's the best I can speak on it. Our next meeting, I am going to have Mr. De La Rosa come in and give a presentation on it.
I also want to say thank you to everybody who had a helping hand on our 4th of July event. I thought it was a beautiful event. I don't know if we can top it next year, but we're going to try. I want to thank the county commissioners, law enforcement, all of law enforcement that came together and helped direct traffic. I think the event was beautifully done and very well planned. I hope that we can top it next year. So thank you, everybody. Also for the luncheon that we had today. Thank you, Main Street. Ms. Maggie, thank you for that. I think, or Margie, I'm sorry, Margie. Thank you for that luncheon. I think everything and everybody who had a hand in there, I'm sure the city secretaries helped out too. Everybody who helped out today, I think that went very well as well. So thank you all for that wonderful meal and also for the festival of July, the 4th of July festival.
Mr. Mayor, I know Mr. Zartucha had a question. Is it something related to the agenda?
It's basically, yes.
Which agenda item?
It's on the taxation, I believe it's in the taxation and rent, not the taxation, is probably based on the Civic Center rental out and waiving the fees. And instead of waiving the fee, possibility of lowering the price of the rental fee instead of waiving it completely, because we, the city, are losing monies in that area. And also the other one is that when we give out, I guess, donations to the public, that we have a writing, somebody that whoever requested to write sign a contract that they are going to bring sales tax or have people stay in the hotel so we can benefit from it because that's where the money's coming from. Am I correct?
Right, we do require them to sign an agreement,
Okay.
but we can't they don't guarantee that people are going to come in. The purpose is specified as to what the funds are being used for.
Yeah, it's usually used for advertising, and that's why the city of Cotulla is always a sponsor, and it's usually used for advertising. And we're probably the number one sponsor for that nonprofit organization. And most of the people that come in here and ask for the fee to be waived, I know that that came up a while back to maybe lower the fee, but these all of these people that come up are usually nonprofit organizations. So that's why we've been waiving the fee, because they're really nonprofit organization, and also the city of Cotulla is also a sponsor for them.
For the purposes of the meeting, if you want to call Mr. Wright, and we can do a conference call, or I can meet you with him and I can answer your questions.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Well, and any part that any financial that the city helps with toward organizations, do they require an audit?
We have the ability to do that, and normally we require them to come in and bring us.
I would like to see that from now.
And actually, we were talking about that today at the office, David, Mr. Doalina. I think we're gonna do that to some of the entities that get the vast majority of the funds. that
Many
we
of
put
them
out.
before they're supposed to be reimbursement contracts,
Right,
which means you don't get the money until you come in and
and bring the receipts and how you
That's
spent
what
the
I'm
money.
right.
It's how you spent the money.
Yeah, that's what
They're
I. That's
called-
what
But
I don't know if I don't know if it's stated that way on
They're called hot tax reimbursement.
Yeah, it is.
and that's where I'm getting because I sometimes I know they don't turn in those receipts or anything like
Well,
that.
they shouldn't be getting paid.
Yeah.
I don't know
Correct.
how that's working, but
Well, we can probably definitely look at that and restructure it as to how we disperse of those funds or give them out.
Be great.
it couldn't be clearer.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Those agreements say that.
All right, it is now 8:26 and this meeting is adjourned.